All right, let's talk about JetBlue. If you just glanced at the headlines from their latest earnings report, you'd probably think things look pretty grim. We're talking huge losses. But if you dig just a little bit deeper, there's actually a really fascinating turnaround story taking shape. So let's break down their flight plan for the future.
And this really is the core question, isn't it? It's a total head-scratcher. The airline's net loss is getting bigger, not smaller. And yet there's this weird sense of optimism swirling around their new strategy. How can both of those things possibly be true at the same time? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack here.
So, first up, let's get into the numbers, because this is where you start to see the surprising story emerge. A story all about a loss that, weirdly enough, beat expectations.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. On one hand, you've got the bad news that grabs the headlines, a net loss of $143 million. Ouch. But then, on the other hand, you have the good news. That loss was actually less than Wall Street analysts were bracing for. And their total revenue, it landed right on the money, meeting expectations exactly. This is the first clue that maybe, just maybe, JetBlue has a better grip on the controls than it looks. But, let's not sugarcoat the challenge here. The net loss more than doubled from this time last year, jumping from $60 million all the way to $143 million. That's a serious headwind, and it's the whole reason their new strategy is so incredibly important right now.
Now, this number is really key, a loss of 39 cents per share. Yeah, it's still a loss, but Wall Street was expecting a loss of 43 cents per share. Beating that forecast, even by a few cents, creates what they call an earnings surprise. It's a little signal to investors that, hey, the company's plans might actually be working a bit better than anyone thought.
Okay, so what is this big plan? What's the playbook they're using to pull out of this dive? Well, it's a huge initiative they're calling JetForward, and it's designed to completely change the airline's trajectory. So what is JetForward, really? You can think of it as their master plan. It's not one single thing. It's this huge multi-year strategy with over 100 different projects all running at once. And they're all focused on three main goals: slash costs, make their flight routes smarter and more profitable, and seriously upgrade their premium cabins. The end goal for all of this? Simple. Get back to making money. And this isn't just some corporate buzzword on a PowerPoint. It's delivering real cash. The whole plan is supposed to generate an extra $290 million in operating income. And as you can see, they've already locked in $180 million of that. They are well on their way, proving the strategy is already paying off. And you don't just have to take my word for it. The CEO, Joanna Geraghty, said it herself. The momentum is building. And those swift actions she's talking about, those are the real-world cost cuts and route changes that are supposed to build a much stronger foundation for the airline's future. Okay, so that's the high-level strategy. But what does it actually look like in the real world? What does it mean for us, the passengers? Well, let's talk about new partners and new routes. And first up is something massive. It's a truly game-changing partnership with United Airlines called the Blue Sky program. I mean, this is a huge deal in the airline industry. It lets these two very different airlines work together to expand where they fly without having to go out and buy a bunch of new planes. It's a really smart move. And the best part is, this isn't some far-off dream. It's happening right now. It officially kicked off in October, so you can already earn and burn loyalty points on either airline. Then, early next year, the elite status perks start syncing up. Think priority boarding and things like that. And by the first part of 2026, you'll be able to book a single trip with flights on both airlines. For JetBlue, this just massively expands our network overnight. At the exact same time, JetBlue is also doubling down on its own strengths. They are pouring resources into their Fort Lauderdale hub, turning it into an absolute powerhouse. We're talking 17 new routes, bringing back popular flights to places like Aruba and Grand Cayman, and adding brand new service to cities like Cali, Colombia, and key domestic markets like Atlanta and Austin.
But, a winning strategy isn't just about drawing new lines on a map. A huge piece of the JetForward plan is all about upgrading the actual experience of flying, with a major focus on making things more premium and adding more perks. So this slide really breaks down how they're attacking the premium market from two different angles. You've got their famous Mint class, the one with the amazing lie-flat beds for cross-country and international flights. And now they're adding a brand new domestic first class, which will use more traditional, big recliner seats to compete head-to-head with the legacy airlines on those shorter but really valuable business routes.
And this premium push is happening everywhere you look.
It starts before you even get on the plane, with brand new airport lounges opening at JFK later this year and then in Boston in 2026. Then comes that new domestic first-class cabin. And looking even further down the road, they're upgrading their already famous free Wi-Fi with a new partnership with Amazon's Project Kuiper starting in 2027.
So the big question is any of this actually working? Are people noticing? Well, this number seems to say yes. They've seen a 10% jump in their Net Promoter Score. That's basically a fancy way of measuring how likely you are to recommend them to a friend. A 10% increase is a really strong sign that even with all the financial turbulence, passengers are liking what they see.
So what does the flight path for the next year or so look like? Let's take a peek at the forecast and talk about the headwinds they're still going to have to navigate.
Now, this table shows the company's official guidance for the next quarter, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. Capacity, that's the number of seats they're flying, is going to be pretty much flat. Revenue for each of those seats is expected to dip a little, and at the same time, their costs are still going up. It just goes to show you, a turnaround like this is never a straight line up. There are definitely still going to be some bumps along the way.
But this number, this one, explains why they can afford to hit a few of those bumps. $2.9 billion in cash. That is a massive financial cushion. It gives them the stability and the breathing room to see their long-term plan all the way through, even if they have a few tough quarters. It's the fuel they need to finish the journey.
So we kind of end up where we started, but now with a whole lot more clarity. JetBlue has a solid plan. They are executing on that plan, and they absolutely have the cash to back it up. But the ultimate success story here really depends on factors that are completely out of their control. Will people like you and me keep booking flights? And will the economy stay strong enough to support all these premium ambitions? Well, that remains the billion-dollar question for 2026.